Thanks for joining us on this edition of National Focus. I'm Nisha Charles. Coming up, over $100 million spent to bring safe potable water to all Dominicans. 2015 has been designated the Year of Soils. Stay tuned for details of these and other stories after this.
Real men protect children, not harm them. Under the Convention of the Rights of a child is anyone under the age of 18, and it's sexual abuse if you ask to see or touch their private parts, touch them inappropriately, show them or force them to touch your private parts, have sex with them, show them pornographic material, or deliberately let them hear or see the act of sex. Real men don't abuse children, and they don't encourage others to do it either. Be a real man. For more information, please contact these agencies. This message brought to you by UNICEF and this station.
Thanks for staying with us. The government of Dominica is committed to bringing potable water to every household in Dominica. Between 2000 and 2013, the Labour Party administration has spent $180 million in the water sector. From 2012 to present, government has already spent $73 million for new water systems and to augment existing ones. The Honourable Minister responsible for Water Resource Management, Reginald Austrie, says government will continue to improve water systems across the country. He was speaking on Focus on Government and Development radio program last week.
In Antrim, in Area 1, where we're now spending some $20 million to improve that water, and the Antrim water system, it feeds the West Coast and going way down to Scottshead, Soufriere, passing through the capital city of Roseau, all our hotels, our schools, our hospital, putting a new filtration system, building extra capacity to hold more capacity, more storage facilities, and an intake. We have to go higher up the river to build a brand new intake. In areas like Benz and Grand Fond, where we invested very, very heavily in Grand Bay Alley, we recently spent some $500,000 in Shufford, Vacars, Savannah and Scottshead. Well, we already mentioned the West Coast system. Salisbury, which is part of the West Coast water system, but the government had to find an additional $2.5 million to do the storage tank in Salisbury.
The world has already met the Millennium Development Goal 7, targets of having the proportion of people without sustainable access to safe drinking water, well in advance of the MDG's 2015 deadline. Dominica has surpassed that goal and is currently at 97% with bringing potable water to every household. In October of 2014, government launched the Bells Water Supply Project to bring safe potable water to residents of Bells, Penrice and Poncasset. With the completion of that project in 2015, Dominica will reach the 100% mark.
Penville, where we spent $2.7 million. In Warner, we spent $3.6 million. In the Luce, we spent $2.8 million. In Campbell, we spent and these are small communities. Most of these communities are small communities, and they will never, Dawasco will never be able to recover the cost of these investments. But we see it as an investment in people. It's not about making money, but it's about giving people the best quality water. We pride ourselves as having the best water in the world, and so believe that the Dominican people have to enjoy that quality of water. And so the government has a responsibility to take this water to the people of Dominica.
The Honourable Minister highlighted other communities where work is being done.
We have completed the $2.3 million project in Grand Fond. 1.3 came from the BNTF. The rest came from the government of Dominica and Dawasco. We're now reinstating the roads there. In Grand Savannah, where we're building this storage tank, the tank is completed and we know pressure testing the systems. In Savannah and Scottsdale, we're spending some $1.6 million. Work is ongoing. We know pouring the roof of the tank and laying of the pipes. WA1, like I mentioned, we're spending $20 million, and that includes the construction of a 250,000 gallon storage tank. In Massac, we're also building another 100,000 gallon tank. We're doing some remedial works there, and that work is ongoing. In Union Estate, we spent some $700,000 to do another storage tank because Union Estate is one of the rapidly developing areas in Dominica. And of course, the $34 million West Coast water supply.
The year 2015 has been designated International Year of Soils by the United Nations. The Food and Agriculture Association, the FAO, has been designated for implementation of the activities related to the Year of Soils. It is estimated that today 33% of land is moderately to highly degraded due to the erosion and chemical pollution of soils. Kimani Seja brings us more in this report.
Soil is a finite resource, meaning that its loss and degradation are not recoverable within a human lifespan. Although this resource is essential for agricultural development and ecological sustainability, it is often overlooked. Yet soil is the basis for food production all over the world. The Year of Soil campaign is built around 6 key messages that highlight the multiple ways in which we all depend on soils. They are: healthy soils are the basis for healthy food production. Soils are the foundation for vegetation which is cultivated or managed for feed, fiber, fuel, and medicinal products. Soils support our planet's biodiversity and host a quarter of the total. Soils help to combat and adapt to climate change by playing a key role in the carbon cycle. Soils store and filter water, improving our resilience to floods and droughts. And the soils is a non-renewable resource. Its preservation is essential for food security and our sustainable future. Farmers and people directly in touch with the soil must understand the benefits of sustainable land management practices before they can practice them. Education, effective extension programs, and promotion of sustainable technologies play a critical role in this aspect. The Dominica Labour Party administration has been consistent in adopting policies and plans that benefit the nation. In recognition of soils as the basis for food production and biodiversity, the Ministry of Agriculture, with technical expertise and financial assistance from the Kingdom of Morocco, on February 9th, launched a soil fertility mapping project. This project is in keeping with the FAO's assertion that governments play a critical role in ensuring soil preservation and land management. The Soil Fertility Mapping Project aims to establish a database with updated information regarding soil fertility on the island. This move is expected to lessen the extent of land degradation. The project is expected to last for 4 years. Government is also in the process of adopting a framework for best land practices in Dominica. The Year of Soils is recognized under the theme, Healthy Soils for a Healthy Life. Kimani Seja for GIS News.
Thank you, Kimani, for that report. In other news, the Cottage constituency is benefiting from the Housing Revolution program. The Honorable Parliamentary Representative for that constituency, Reginald Austrie, says the people have not been forgotten. Over the past 5 years, government has renovated 149 homes and built 31 new homes in the constituency. The Honorable Parliament Representative says government will continue to play its role in addressing the housing needs of the people.
Remember the project we undertook in Capuchin, and where we have our indigenous people living, where the Prime Minister, after having seen the housing condition last year, made a commitment, and we spent about $500,000 basically building 7 brand new houses in that area and outfitting them with washroom facilities, something that these people were seeing for the very first time. So that I'm happy to say that we have been breaking some grounds and attacking the housing situation in the constituency. There is much more to be done, but like everybody else, we have a country to build. We built 31 new homes over a 5-year period, and that's new homes from foundation to roof. And as I speak, there's one ongoing in Savonpai, there's one ongoing in Lago, there's one ongoing in Cottage, there's one ongoing in Clifton, and we're talking about building brand new homes as was enunciated in our budget, where the government was seeking to build 1,500 homes. So I'm satisfied that while there's a lot more work to be done, but we have done well as far as the provision of housing is concerned.
To date, the Labour Party administration has renovated over 3,900 homes under the Housing Revolution program. Still in the Cottage constituency, students are benefiting from free transportation thanks to the government of Dominica. The Honorable Parliament Representative Reginald Austri says this is an achievement for his constituency and that parents can rest assured that their children will be taken care of.
We only achieved that milestone just last year. We're into the second year where our students who were struggling to get back onto school on time because of transportation issues, they now have a dedicated bus system that takes them to school. There are challenges. You deal with human beings, and once you deal with human beings, there will always be challenges. It will never be as smooth as you like it to be, but we're coping and we're happy that our students can now get to school on time because of the free bus situation.
Students attending the Dominica State College are also benefiting from the service.
On my list of college students, about 60 students from the constituents from Lagon to Capuchin attending the state college, and we have ensured that for the last 2 years we have been giving them some support in terms of their tuition and fees at the college, but we've gone further and assisting them with transportation to get to the college on time. You can imagine having to get from Capuchin to the state college and back to Capuchin, the tremendous pressure on the parent to find between $12 and $15 every day to have their child, and that's the minimum.
The Ministry of Agriculture and by extension, the government of Dominica is on a mission to reduce the impact of invasive species on island. An invasive species is defined as an organism, plant, animal, fungus or bacterium that is not native and has negative effects on the environment, the economy and health. Head of the Plant Protection and Quarantine Unit of the Ministry of Agriculture, Ryan Anselm, speaking on Environment Corner on Tuesday, gave a brief description of the classification of invasive species.
Part of our classification of an invasive species, it has to have the potential to cause severe economic problems for your country. It has to have the ability to multiply, reproduce quickly, and adapt to the local environment. So all of these factors would characterize what is an invasive species. Sometimes when we conduct pest risk analysis, there are insect pests and diseases that can enter, and they may or may not cause any problem. So in terms of their invasiveness, it's not of economic importance to the country. But examples of that, we would have the giant African snail that is in Dodan in one area, the black sigatoka, and the red palm mites.
He also noted the importance of a strategic national plan to effectively manage these species.
Part of the plant protection and quarantine legislation that is limited, of course. What is needed is a strategic plan of action. One may say a policy to deal with invasive species, because invasive species is not only an agriculture pest, it is marine, it is forestry, it is cross-cutting. And once an invasive species enter, it will come without what we call natural enemies. It will come without any form of control. And once it adapts, it will take a country, or it will seriously affect the economy of a country, because there's no control. And it's trying to adapt, and because it's invasive, it has the possibility to reproduce quickly and to cause severe problems for your economy.
Dr. Reginald Thomas, Chief Veterinary Officer, suggested methods that could be implemented to prevent the spread of these species.
Management plan is just one option by virtue of the functions that we carry in terms of prevention of or regulation of movement of certain items. I mean, that is just one mechanism that can be used. If we looked at what happened with in terms of the chytrid fungus and its effect on the crapo, how we were able to come together and develop systems to mitigate the effects. So, you know, the strategy could be prevention, but also when it does come in, what are the systems that you put in place to help to mitigate the impact or the effects on it? And in terms of the strategies that are available to you, you could look at the broader strategy in terms of preventing entry, but also the mitigating strategies have to be also thought of in terms of rapid identification and putting the mitigating strategies in place.
And before we leave, here is a little history about the origin of calypso. Calypso is a style of Afro-Caribbean music that originated in Trinidad and Tobago during the early to mid-20th century. Its rhythms can be traced back to West African calypso and the arrival of French planters and their slaves from the French Antilles in the 1700s. Calypso drew upon African and French influences and became the voice of the people and were most often sung in a French Creole or patois. The singer was called the chantel, but eventually Calypsonian, as English replaced patois as the dominant language. Calypso has been popular in Dominica since the 1950s, and the first Calypso king was crowned in 1959. Popular calypso in Dominica has always been closely associated with steel pan music. As calypso became even more popular, it attracted the attention from government. It allowed the masses to challenge the doings of the unelected governor and legislative council and the elected town councils, and continued to play an important role in political expression as well as social commentary. In the 60s, calypso and steel pan music became even more popular in Dominica and replaced the lapo cabuit and shanty mass as the music of carnival. Many of the traditional songs were performed in the new calypso beat. Calypsonians and calypso monarch competitions emerged and became extremely popular. The songs and music were the backbone of masquerade. They were full of double meaning and innuendo. The Calypsonians continued the tradition of disguising the true meaning of the lyrics. Also by the 60s, the Calypsonian and his road march became the stronger force in carnival, so that today the success of each year depends heavily on their contributions. This weekend, 10 Calypsonians will take to the stage to determine who will be the monarch for Carnival 2015. And that's the English news. McPherson and Luce is next with the Creole highlights.
Allô tout le monde, bienvenue à cette nouvelle en créole. Non moi c'est McPherson St. Louis. Premièrement, le ministre de l'Agriculture a collaboré et puis Dexia pour faciliter habitants et puis produits à la place là. Selon le ministre de l'Agriculture, Honorable Johnson Drago, habitants ont tapé nouvelle pour cultiver certains daoués qui compagnie là qui poursuivent radio.
Mon le dit aussi que nous travaillons plus avec l'organisation comme Dexia, nous avons mené collaboration en manière plus parce que Dexia c'est une organisation pour plus market produce. So extension qui capable Dexia plus support quand nous avons parlé, moi le dit planter qui Dexia ni un projet pour planter piment, planter dachine et planter banane. Yo ka planter 200 bananes à 150 acres dachine et about 25 acres piment. So farmer qui les montré en ces production ça au présent, ça ni aller au Dexia, aller au extension yo et puis register parce que Dexia kay ba yo support pour ces production ça yo et nous kay ouais qui Ministry Trade assister puis ça fait la place pour ces commodités ça yo. So nous les farmers comprendre qui ça fait la place là nous kay ça bien sérieux pour aider yo pour ça pousser en affaires agricoles yo.
Don't nouvelle peuple Kalinago katapé à vie pour venir ensemble travailler pour développement territoire Kalinago. Parole celle-là sortie du ministre Kalinago, Honorable Cassius Dero.
Ça moi voulais pour yo faire c'est pour nous toutes venir ensemble. C'est couleur rouge là, c'est couleur bleu à nous tenir avant Noël là. Noël ça passé, Noël vini aller, l'année à neuf, à nous venir ensemble, à nous mettre couleur nous à terre, à nous travailler pour développer la communauté nous. À laisser la vie nous est pour faire une réflexion. Qui ça nous voulait pour mon qui ça nous voulait voir nous finissement sec là derrière. So moi recommande yo pour ça à nous travailler ensemble. Si nous avons des difficultés à nous résoudre amicablement, à nous profiter et pousser forward. À nous aller devant vers ça nous pour faire.
En la nouvelle, ministère santé Honorable Dr. Kenneth Darrow, le chef délégation officiel ministre santé qui est venu au bout visite en santé pays là. Plusieurs d'autres officiers étaient assis là, en parmi permanent secrétaire Helen Roy et puis chef officier médical Dr. David Johnson. Selon le ministre Darrow, visite la baille au meilleur couponnement manière service santé qui a fonctionné en Dominique. Dernière l'occasion que visiter c'était St. Joe. Ministre Darrow complimenté travailler santé Wansalam et puis fait parole que le gouvernement qui a adressé bagaille qui a concerné yo, qui a commencé et puis ça fait développement infrastructure, ça c'est ça fait caille et bagaille comme ça. Il y a l'autre priorité pour le ministre en santé selon le ministre Darrow, c'est ça fait traitement. Délégation là aussi visité Wan Santé Marigot, Guambe, Guantans, Wozo et puis Cassebros. Et puis finalement, comité pour études créole Kek, que oui, visiter dictionnaire créole en Dominique, ça c'est un dictionnaire qui fait production. Monsieur Raymond Lawrence, c'est chairman pour comité pour études créole.
C'est bien longtemps Kek fait un dictionnaire, c'est le premier dictionnaire créole à Dominique. De temps en temps, on est pour, comme c'est dit, update, on est pour faire une révision. Là, on est en livre, en publication, on est pour faire une révision de publication. Ça là. So, c'est ça qu'on voulait faire, nous voulons faire un autre dictionnaire. Mettez plus mots à dedans, mettez plus expressions à dedans. Parce que quelques fait on le livre déjà, comme Mi Bredex, comme Powell Creole, T-L'Histoire, publication comme ça. Et, actuellement, nous voulons faire l'autre dictionnaire, Creole dictionnaire pour Dominique.
Messieurs et mesdames, ça c'est tout pour nouvelles à Creole. Pour à présent, non moins, c'est McPherson Luce. Au revoir.
Coming up next, how to eat clean.
DOWASCO recognizes that clean water is vital to healthy living. Therefore, it spares no effort in providing a clean, safe, and reliable system. Help keep our rivers safe and clean. Do not cut trees along the river banks and do not pollute with garbage, human or animal feces, and chemicals. Think water, think life.
Clean, healthy eating isn't always easy, especially with junk food tempting you everywhere you turn. Though changing your entire eating habits is not always realistic, you can limit your processed food intake. Choose the most natural option whenever possible. For example, choose fresh produce instead of one that contains preservatives. Choose foods in their natural state, like an orange instead of orange juice, which contains high fructose corn syrup with little real juice. And that's all for this edition of National Focus. We always welcome your suggestions and comments. Drop us an email at gis@dominica.gov.dm or visit our website news.gov.dm. Like our Facebook page, facebook.com/GIS News Dominica, and follow our Twitter at GIS Dominica. You can also catch up on past National Focus newscasts on our GIS Dominica YouTube channel. From all of us here on the GIS News production team, I'm Nisha Charles. Thanks for watching.